This is your captain speaking. Welcome back. We're playing Minecraft again. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Over the last couple days, I did a little bit more work. Cleared out some trees, started terraforming a little bit. That's probably what we're going to be doing tonight. So, hope you guys are ready to chill. Because I always am. No doubt about that. Let's go ahead and hop right on in. Back in it. Check my levels here. Go ahead and pop on some music too. Alright. Oh, we're about to see some violence already. Man, you guys couldn't have held that in for a while? Alright. Yeah, so hopefully the visuals don't look too bad. Let me just check here. I had some weird issues with my capture being weird, like the color being weird. Let me just check that really fast. It just looks kind of dull, you know? That'd be alright. Yeah. Back in Rollo town, I think is what I what I called it the other day. Yeah, so I'm thinking today probably just gonna be clearing out some more of these trees over here, and then once I feel like I've got enough of that accomplished, then I'm gonna start maybe like flattening some of these hills and stuff, because eventually this whole area is gonna be a part of the town, and I think this might actually be like the larger, you know, city central area, because at first that's what this area was supposed to be over here, you know, but I'm thinking now that this is just going to be like the outskirts of town, right? And then we're just going to make this like a real proper city. So from now on, until, you know, further notice, I guess, we're just going to be crushing some blocks. Sounds good to me. But, you know, I feel like once I get enough of this area cleared, then I'll probably start, you know, road mapping, you know, maybe building some bridges, stuff like that. We'll see. We shall see. Originally, I tried to, like, completely fill over this river. I've definitely expanded the river, for sure, like, from the sides, because I think it was maybe not, maybe I made it smaller. I don't know, that was a while ago. Anywho, let's get down to it. I think my plan was to keep working this way, so that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I actually could. This was all hills and trees, and it is no more. I was gonna stream yesterday, as I had said in the previous video, right? But then I forgot when I said that the next day, or Friday or whatever it was, when I streamed Wednesday, and I said I was gonna stream again on Friday, and I had forgotten that it was Independence Day, 4th of July, and I kind of just assumed that after I'd thought about it that that wouldn't be a good idea to stream because all the boom boom's going on. So I decided not to, and I actually did quite a lot of drawing, and I made some pretty good progress on my 2D model. So I'm very excited and pleased about that for sure. It's been a long time coming, man. And we are moving along much quickly than I had originally anticipated it was going to go. So that's good. Definitely happy about that. And proud of myself too, you know, for buckling down and like really kind of getting on it. I think, you know, personally, the rigging is going to take the longest. But you know what? It's all good. Because I know that the final product will be very good. At least I feel that it will be. Alright. Yeah, we're just gonna, I guess, start mowing some of these trees down, huh? Why not? I would imagine that this will probably be a pretty laid-back stream. You know, last time I got a little... I got a little bit fired up about bugs. For whatever reason. Not feeling particularly fiery today, so yeah, maybe we'll just kick back and bust some blocks, huh? I hope that everybody in the States, you know, had a fun and safe and tolerant 4th of July. I did not do anything because I don't particularly care about fireworks. I think they look nice. Indifferent to the lighting of them. You know? It's not my jam. It used to be when I was a kid. I used to love 4th of July because, I mean, it was an excuse to fire off big old boom booms, right? Who doesn't like that? But, you know, I got my priorities in different places now. These big trees are very tedious, you know? Because they're 4 blocks. And they're so tall. They just, I don't know. Thought about TNTing them. Could you imagine seeing that in real life? Just a bunch of people, like loggers, just dynamiting a forest. You know, it honestly would not surprise me to actually see that. But that, I mean, that is certainly very highly illegal. That is absolutely disrupting some code of conduct for sure. If not illegal, if not highly illegal. I mean, the risk of wildfire and, you know, wonder if eventually this weird screen tint is gonna drive me nuts. It's just very, I don't know, it's very like sepia toned. It's like kind of brown. It could just be the weather in Minecraft currently. You know, maybe it's just a little muggy. I don't think I'm technically in a different biome right now. Oh, and also, my little guy up in the corner is actually my custom avatar. I don't know why before it was just Steve, but it's me now. Let me tell you something also, man. These critters, they are getting in the way. Oh boy. I mean, they're great, but man. Yes, Deforestation for Science. That was the last minute title that I devised for this stream. That's what I've convinced myself is going on here. There's also just something really just relaxing and therapeutic about just busting blocks in Minecraft. Sometimes when I do this on my, in my free time, I don't even really do anything. Sometimes I just will clear blocks because it's just nice. It's nice to do, you know? Also, hopefully I fixed the chat from last time with the lagging. I certainly hope so. No promises. But I hope that it's better. Okay. Yeah, it's just like every like few feet that I go, there's just more critters. I wonder if this is like their revenge for me clearing out all their natural habitat. To be honest, I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into what this city is, town, whatever you want to call it, municipality, what this is going to look like when it's done. I don't really have any concrete images in mind. I'm just going to kind of, start building stuff and see where it goes, right? That's definitely more my style for sure. And don't get me wrong, I like to have a plan with certain things, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, any kind of like creative endeavor, I'm just chilling, man. As always, let it flow naturally. Because I found that in terms of like drawing or any kind of creative endeavor, I found that when I go into a project and I have something very specific in mind that I want to accomplish, it never turns out that way. And that's in some ways kind of the beautiful thing about making art, right? Is that for me, at least in my perspective, any piece kind of takes on the life of its own. It becomes what it wants to become, and you're kind of just there directing traffic, right? And I find that to be a really fulfilling and comfortable position to be in. Because then I know that it's probably not all on me. There's also some aspects of creativity that it's just kind of your subconscious working, and you are the channel for it, and stuff's just coming out, right? I like that a piece will take... It develops its own personality. It takes shape in whatever way it's going to take shape. And even though you're sort of acting as the guardrails, right? You don't want anything to go too off script. But you're giving the art itself a space to breathe and form its own opinions and, you know, build its own identity. And that's kind of what's kept me into it for so long, is not really knowing 100% what something's gonna be like when it's done. I do like that little bit of surprise. It creates a flavor that, for me, is addictive, you know? Even if I know 100% sure what I want something to be in the end, I like that it's never really that. And ain't that just life? You know? If you live life with expectations, expect to be disappointed. Now, that doesn't necessarily apply to all aspects of life. Surely. You know? You don't ever want to be surprised by your bank account. Unless it's pleasantly surprised. You don't ever want to be surprised by a medical diagnosis unless it's a good surprise, right? A pleasant surprise. But most of the time, don't expect anything, right? And I suppose this can be a double-edged sword, because if you are a negative person, you generally have a negative outlook on life. That can go many ways, right? I mean, if you go into a situation already expecting the worst, if something bad happens, you're kind of just like, oh, well, you know, that's how I expected it to go. And if something good happens, you're pleasantly surprised, right? And that's all fine and good, right? But for me, I generally prefer to not expect anything. You know, that way I'm surprised either way. That's not necessarily true, but I'm not a, you know, an inherently negative person. I'm certainly a hopeful person, but I'm also, you know, I've been around long enough. I've experienced enough to know that there is definitely a 50-50 shot that things could go either way. So it's important to keep that in mind. And bringing that back to art, in my opinion, from my own experience, even if a piece does not turn out the way that I wanted, remotely, in any regard, there is still something to be made of it. It became what it wanted to become, and maybe that particular time was not the time for the thing that you wanted to happen, right? But it's still in there. If any of that made sense, I would be happy. Stuff like that's a little tricky to explain, you know. I'm definitely the kind of person that is, I'm pretty cavalier about most things, you know? Try not to take things too seriously. Try not to take myself too seriously. But I know I have the wherewithal to know when a situation needs to be handled carefully. And when I can kind of cut loose and not really care, right? And as somebody who is at least moderately intelligent, that's as far as I can confirm, without sounding pretentious. I can definitely tell, just based off of my own intuition and my experience with life, if a situation is going poorly or not, right? Just something you kind of learn as you get older, you know, when to when to pursue something or when to walk away. I think for a lot of things, though, things that aren't like super important, right? My main concern is this prospective thing, this potential thing that I'm about to do, am I gonna think this is fun or not? Am I gonna enjoy this? And it doesn't necessarily have to be fun for me to enjoy it, you know? Maybe I'll get something else out of it. But if the answer to that is no, then if I have the choice, I will reconsider my options. But if I do not, such as working a job, for example, because I need to make money to live, right? I know that is a truth. I know that is a fact that I have to do that or I'm going to be miserable. And I sort of have to reconcile with myself, right? I have to sit down and be like, look, I know that all you want to do is sit around and eat melons and drink coconut water and watch clouds, right? But you kind of can't do that right now. So, what kind of reason, what kind of excuse do you have to do this thing that you don't want to do? And in my mind, usually the conclusion I come to is, I'm going to do this not because I want to, but because it is going to allow me to do the things that I want to do and not have to worry about them. That's why I have never felt, and maybe this can be a lesson, you know, or maybe some advice, maybe, you know, to help you out if you're having a tough time, you know, justifying your purpose for doing certain things, right? Is, I have never once in my entire life, and maybe this might be indicative of my behavior as a person, you know? Maybe you can come to some conclusions that I might not have had, right? But I have never once in my life ever felt beholden to an entity greater than myself, or what could be perceived as being greater than myself. So for example, I have never felt an obligation to perform a job that I'm being paid for, other than I need this money to do the things I want to do. You know? I don't really care how well the company's doing. I don't care about my performance necessarily. Beyond, if I don't do good, then I will get fired and I have to get another job, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to do what I need to do to make the money that I need to make in order to support my lifestyle, and beyond that, I don't care. Right? And one could say that, in light of that, that could potentially be why I have never made it very far in any job. But I think a lot of that also is, well, I don't want to make it, the job that I work now, I've been there for half a decade, you know. I generally tend to stay at jobs for a long time, mostly just because I don't want to start a new job because I hate working. Unless I'm like really, really, truly unhappy and it's causing me distress in my life, I'll just put up with it, you know, whatever. But a lot of my unwillingness to go beyond, I think, just comes from the fact that, you know, I always tell myself, right, like when things at work get stressful or people are being weird or annoying or what have you, you know, I just say to myself, look, I could care about that, but I don't live here, man. I just work here. You guys just pay me, right? And that usually, oh man, you know, I have the urge to keep digging, but we're not gonna do that because I know that I'll just get stuck. Anyway, yeah, so that's really kind of just how I justify certain necessities, certain obligations, you know. But most of the time, I'm not really taking it too seriously. The only reason I'm doing that, the only reason I'm working, the only reason I have a full-time job is because I have to pay for the things that I want. And if there wasn't anything that I wanted, I probably wouldn't work. But this idea of want, right, if I may explain, because I'm sure that sounds incredibly, I don't know, lazy to say. My want can extend to many things, right? It's not just my own personal, I want to buy this, I want to do that. It also extends to, I want the people that I care about to, you know, have the things that they want and to live comfortably, you know, within our means, right? I don't want to be a detriment to the people I care about. Being a detriment to the people I don't care about, it's just that. I don't care about them. But the people that I do care about, you know, I don't want my, my antipathy, or whatever you want to call it, to negatively affect them, right? Because I care about those people. But let's just say that I was in a position where I had nobody that I cared about. Horrifying proposition, by the way. And I had no personal wants, no desires, no ambitions. I was completely apathetic. And I suppose that this is appropriate for, you know, anybody's case in this particular scenario, right? Then I would probably just only do the things that I wanted to do and not have a job at all. But that is not the case in my life. It could have been at one point. I was certainly going down that route for sure in the past, right? Many years ago. But luckily, that did not come to pass, and I do have people that rely on me, people that care about me, and people that I care about as well. And I'm going to do, you know, whatever I feel like I have to do to make sure that they're doing all right. You know? I don't know how we got on that topic. But hey, that's just Minecraft, you know? Ain't it? But I will say also, I haven't really always been like that my whole life. There was certainly a time when I was younger that I was much more eager to devote myself to a thing just because I felt like it was, you know, the appropriate thing to do, right? But I've found as I've gotten older, and after working lots of jobs that I don't like, with people that I don't like, right? I got really good at just saying, like, F you to people, you know? Maybe not directly to them, but just in general, right? That sentiment of like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Why would I do that? I don't even like you, you know? I'm not gonna bend over backwards for someone I don't like. Are you kidding me? Like, that's such a waste of time. So I think it's fair to say that I am certainly not much of a people pleaser, which is not the case, 15 years ago. I definitely was not as I am now back then. I think it's just taken several instances of being, beat down by life, being exhausted, thrust into positions I didn't necessarily want, being walked on by people. And I came to the very fortunate conclusion, if you ask me, that I don't want that shit to happen anymore, right? So I'm not going to let it. And I have been much happier since then. Let me tell you. Now, that approach might not work for everybody, right? And some people might not be in the position to flip the bird to people or things that they don't like, right? Maybe I'm not either, but I do it anyway. I don't care. Why would I spend my time catering to people or getting myself involved in situations that I don't like, right? It just seems like a waste. It seems just not efficient to me, If I don't like something, I'm not going to engage with it, right? Like, doesn't that, to me that seems just like common sense, but, and I'm not putting anybody down who, isn't like that, who isn't like me, right? I just personally don't really understand that mentality. And of course there's nuances, just like with everything, context is very important. The scenario that the circumstances that a person finds them in. It's important to consider that stuff too. But yeah, I just don't really see any value in that at all. And that's why I do things because I want to, That's why I do this. I started doing this in the first place because it sounded fun. That's literally the only reason why I started doing it at all. The whole thing about streaming, VTubing, even just being on YouTube in general. It sounded like fun, and it was something I wanted to try. And, if it ever stops being fun, as I said, I'll stop doing it. I'm not going to waste my freaking time, Why would I? I feel that, a part of that attitude that I have is because I have wasted a lot of time on shit I didn't care about, right? Doing things that are not fulfilling, things that make me feel bad. I spent a lot of time in the past doing those things, and they got me literally nowhere. I think that's safe to say. There was no positive effect. The only good thing that came from it, and I'm very grateful, I don't know who I would be grateful to, maybe myself, but I feel very fortunate that I came to the conclusion to, say no to doing that and live my life on my own terms. Speaking of that whole thing too, when I had first decided to start streaming at all, this is like, I'm talking, late, like January of last year, February of this year, long before I ever started. I was originally going to stream on Twitch, which I might still do. I mean, I have an account. I made an account. But I decided to go with YouTube because I feel that the kind of content that I had in mind for my channel, for the streams, probably would have been better suited to YouTube. Because the content is going to be fairly diverse, right? I mean, the only reason I'm gaming now is because I haven't really, I don't really have the means to do a lot of the stuff that I had planned. And I was aware of that from the beginning. I mean, I knew it was going to be a slow start. And that's fine. I mean, I don't really care. I'm still doing it, right? And that's still a possibility. I might do like a multi-stream, you know, stream to both platforms. I can't see the harm in it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? I don't really see any downsides to it, to be honest. And I mean, even if there were downsides that weren't crippling, I'd still do it anyway. You know, why not? What do I have to lose, right? If you come from nothing and you have nothing, then you just go back to nothing. What have you lost? Nothing. That is Monty Python's Life of Brian, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic movie. Fantastic film. If you're into that kind of stuff. Life of Brian. Oh boy. One of my absolute all-time favorite pieces of media. Let me tell you. That movie is so good and so ridiculously funny. Even still, I mean, when did that movie come out? Like 78? Something like that? It might have even been in the 80s. I'm not entirely sure. But still, incredibly funny. So I would definitely, and you know, that's coming from somebody who is not a movie person. I do not watch movies very often. I've never really been a movie person, and I certainly did not become a movie person as I've gotten older. Nothing against them. I think film is a valid, interesting art form. It's just not my thing, man. But there are lots of movies that I do like. A lot of the ones that I've seen. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of the ones I've seen. Some of the ones that I've seen are some of my favorite movies of all time, you know? We still getting music? I've been yammering on and I wasn't even really paying attention. We are not. We are not getting music in. Now we are. Okay. I would like to, at some point, expand my Minecraft playlist. I'm not sure how long we're gonna go today. I mean, it's Saturday. I could do a little bit longer of a stream. I also do have some work that I would like to get done. I've been staying up late these last few days, and to be honest, I kinda hate it. I mean, I'm talking like 3 in the morning, you know? That's like uber late for me. I mean, during the week, I'm usually in bed by 11:30, right? But on the weekends, I usually stay up till around like 2-ish. For some reason, man, I don't know what it is. I've just been... Maybe it's... I think it's maybe the prolonged daylight hours, right? You know, because the sun doesn't go down till like 9 o'clock. You know, and we're getting to that time of year where, you know, the sun's not going to start going down till like 9:30, right? Which is trippy. It's so weird when that happens. I love it, because I love daytime. I love the sun. But it definitely does not do well for my sleep schedule, that's for sure. I sleep too much in the winter, and I sleep not enough in the summertime. And I think that's because I like summer a lot, and I really don't like winter. Well, I shouldn't say I really don't like it. It is not my preferred season. I don't like the cold. I hate the cold. I absolutely despise the cold. I don't mind when the weather's cool, but I do not like it when it's like really, really cold out. And that's because I like to wear pretty like loose-fitting, breathable clothing, and you can't really do that in the wintertime. You know, I mean, you can if you have your thermostat up really high, you can do that inside, but like if you're wearing like a pair of linen pants and you go outside to like take the trash out or whatever, it's miserable. Excuse me. It's awful. I'm definitely a warm weather person for sure. I guess on a similar topic, you know, to what I was just discussing, right? You know, just kind of my attitude about life, doing the things that I want to do. I guess it ultimately, if we're gonna get heady, it ultimately kind of ties into my conceptions of like, or my preconceptions of reality, you know. Maybe not writ large, but just my perspective. I'm not the kind of person that believes, and I'm sure this will come up many, many times in the future. I'm not somebody who believes in fate. I don't believe in destiny. I wouldn't even necessarily say that, on the flip side, that I believe in free will. I think in some ways, I find myself to be somewhat immune to those things because I don't think about them, right? I don't think about fate. And I'm not saying that fate does not exist. Similar thing with, you know, my religious spiritual beliefs. I don't particularly believe that there is a higher power. Not saying that there just isn't. I'm not in any position to say yes or no, you know? I'm not qualified to say that a god or some higher power is not real because I don't know. You know? So I guess agnostic is the best way to describe it. It's an agnostic perspective. I'll believe it when I see it, right? But I'm not the kind of person that's gonna go and refute other people's spiritual beliefs either. You know, I don't really think it's nobody else's it's nobody else's responsibility, and it's nobody else's place to say what is true or not when it comes to faith and when it comes to belief in something, right? I mean, if somebody has faith in something, that's it. There's no questions. You know, there's no explanation. Faith does not need an explanation. It defies logic. It defies reason. It defies data. That's why faith is a very powerful tool, a very dangerous weapon, and a very powerful defense. But speaking of, you know, fate, I don't believe that I am personally fated for anything. I don't want to be, you know. I don't want to be beholden to a higher power. I don't want to believe that there's something pulling me along in a certain direction, because what if that direction is something I don't want to fucking do, right? And pardon my language, but like, yeah, screw that. I don't want to do that. I mean, let's just say, for example, there was a higher power, a god, perhaps, that had decided that it was my fate to complete some, you know, holy task, right? I mean, under the right circumstances, you know, I mean, sure, maybe I would be inclined to do that. But right now, like, if I found out at the age that I'm at the life that I'm leading, that I was destined to do some grand thing, and that thing was to, like, I don't know, like, build a bridge or something. Like, I don't want to do that. You know? No. Go find somebody else to do it. Like, why me? And this is entirely, you know, I don't really feel like I need to explain it, but it's entirely hypothetical, right? I don't really, obviously I don't believe that I'm destined to do anything beyond my own, you know, my own choices, my own faculties. So that is kind of this whole denouncing of the idea of fate. You know, I don't really necessarily believe in things like signs either. I don't believe in portents. I don't believe in divination. I don't believe in any kind of thing like that. And I'm not saying that I'm purely logical, because I'm certainly not. A purely logical person would not live the way that I live. I can guarantee you. I'm a very rational person, but I'm not pragmatic. I'm not practical. Never have been. You know, if I was purely practical, right? I would have, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what I would do, because I've never been like that. But that's sort of besides the point, I guess. It's just an interesting thing to think about for me, because I have never, ever once felt in my life that I was meant to do something greater, you know? I mean, sure, in the depths of my despair in the past, I'm sure that I did think at some point, whoa, okay. You know, I guess we'll root around in here for a second. What the heck? Okay. Useless to me. What does this say? You know, in the past, in the depths of my despair and depression, I'm sure that I had felt, you know, surely there must be more. Surely I'm meant to do more than this. And whenever there was nothing revealed to me, I came to the conclusion that, well, that kind of sucks, right? But maybe I should just, if no one's gonna tell me what my purpose is, maybe I should just make one, right? Because I hate feeling miserable. I hate feeling despair and hopelessness. And so I just kind of came to my own conclusions about things, right? I was not expecting this chill Minecraft stream to go in this direction. But whatever. Oh. Yeah, and I guess that's just kind of how I developed my particular worldview. I mean, it is, in some ways, a rather absurdist, if you know about, philosophy and things like that, which I was really into for a long time. Not so much anymore, but definitely was. It's a very absurdist way of looking at things, and that was definitely a way of philosophical thinking that I was drawn to. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people that will say that there are immense, a plethora of flaws in the absurdist way of thinking. And to that, I say, who cares? I'm probably going to upset a few people by saying this, but I mean it in the most respectful way possible, right? I'm not condemning anybody, because let me tell you, I used to be really into philosophy, for a long time. I find philosophy as a practice to be somewhat useless, because all philosophy does is ask questions. There are no answers, and I understand that the entire practice of philosophy is meant to seek answers, but nobody's found any yet. So and I'm not speaking in absolutes. I'm not speaking in universal tongue here. I'm not speaking in saying that all philosophy is pointless, so stop. What I'm saying is I don't find any value in it, because it's not telling me the things that I want to know. And I shouldn't say that I shouldn't necessarily say I don't find value in it. I have found that it holds very little value to me. And I learned that about myself by learning about absurdist philosophy. That there's no inherent value, there's no inherent meaning in the universe. Therefore, you should just accept the absurdity of a universe with no meaning and embrace it, If there isn't really any inherent meaning to anything, then who's to say that you can't make your own, right? And that's kind of the angle that I'm taking here. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that if you don't find meaning in something, perhaps there's no meaning to be found. And unless you're gravely missing the point as to what all this is about what's going on, maybe you're just misguided, or maybe you haven't uncovered the truth yet. If there is an absence of something with no particular shape, who's to say that you can't fill that absence with something of any shape that you want, right? And that's why I'm not necessarily incredibly quick to judge people for the choices that they make, right? Because what if they came to the same conclusion, right? And they found that their life had no inherent meaning, and they filled that vacancy with drugs or alcohol or abuse, violence, apathy. Morally, I might disagree, but realistically, are they any better or worse than I am? Philosophically, are they any better or worse than I am? And I believe the answer to be probably not. That's why I'm very content to just let people kind of ride it out and do whatever the hell they want, because that's sort of what I'm doing, right? And you know, that being said, I could easily go on and on about the things that are wrong with Western philosophy. But I don't really care, you know, because I don't necessarily believe in any of that stuff. I have my own moral code and I follow it. You know, just because I may not necessarily believe that there's any inherent meaning in anything, that doesn't mean I'm gonna go and, you know, kill a bunch of people or hurt myself or hurt people that I care about. You know, that seems stupid, right? I mean, I think that would only make me miserable. I'm babbling, of course, but I think it's worth sharing, right? Because it's going to come up at some point in the future, I'm sure. I'm a very kind of laissez-faire, cavalier kind of person with a lot of things, not with everything. You know, I have my boundaries, of course. I have a moral code, or I shouldn't say a code, but I have a moral compass, right? I try... Have I been here? No. Oh man. This is just begging to be cracked open, but I shall refrain. I shan't go any further. I'll come back to this. We're just gonna focus on clearing trees out right now. People are shooting all their leftover fireworks off. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the mic. You know, and it's topics like that that come up, right, that make me really excited to do like Zatsu streams, you know, where we're just chatting, right? Because I feel like a lot of really valuable, interesting conversations can be had from things like that, you know? I know a lot of people in life that are very quick to condemn others, as I'm sure many of you are as well. They're very quick to condemn others for having beliefs that are not their own, or for having conflicting beliefs or ideals. But in my opinion, I think that it's that kind of stuff that it's one of the main ingredients as to what makes life exciting and interesting. I think people's differences make them colorful and important, valuable. And it's unfortunate that being what we are as a species, we feel inclined to ostracize or criticize or even sometimes, you know, punish others for being different than we are. And what I have to say to that is, hey man, we've been to the moon, you know? We've been to space, right? Why are we still doing this? You know? Seems a little silly. And I'm not, you know, one of those transhumanist type people by any means. I'm largely indifferent to that kind of stuff, as I'm sure you'll find out as time goes on. I just think it's a little silly, you know? And it just kind of makes you wonder how much of that's just, like, really stuck in there, you know, in the noggin, and how much of that is learned, you know? I do not know. I am not in the position to say with any certainty what that is. But I think it's a little silly. You know, it is 2025, and people thought at one point that we would have flying cars. You know? But all that being said, I do think that I think anything is worth thinking about. I think anything is worth having a discussion about. And you should be curious about things. You know? You should think about things. I think it's important to contemplate things, right? Not obsessively, you know, but to, you know, be curious about the world and people, cultures, why things are the way they are, why things happen the way they happen. I think that's incredibly, it's invaluable. It is truly an invaluable asset to mankind, you know, to stay curious about things. Keep asking questions. You know, because that is, if you ask me, that is one of the unfortunate paradoxes of mankind. Human Homo sapiens, you know, and probably our ancestors as well. Other members of the genus Homo in the past. We have the ability to think many, many steps ahead. More so than, as far as we know, any other creature on the planet. That is our greatest asset and our most vile curse, is our ability to think. In the capacity that we do, you know. It's why we think so deeply, almost obsessively, about our own mortality. You know, that's why churches are built. That's why sacred sites are established. That's why we have houses. That's why we have air conditioning. That's why we have medicine. Because we are obsessed with dying, and we don't want to, right? Because we have the ability to anticipate our own deaths, our own mortality. And I will move away from this topic so I don't bring the stream down. But I believe that it's worth mentioning, right? It's worth acknowledging, you know? And if that is something that troubles you, if thoughts of death or mortality are something that troubles you, use that as a fuel to find out exactly what it is that you believe in. If you ponder the idea of dying, if you ponder your own mortality and it frightens you, use that same power that you have, the power that got you into that dark place to begin with, to think your way out of it. You know? If thoughts of death, thoughts of the end, throw you into despair, you got yourself there, right? You can probably get yourself out. And don't think just about what death will be like. think about what you want your life to be right now until you get to that point, you know? Use it as a springboard to better your circumstances, to better yourself as a person, spiritually, mentally, physically, however you see fit. And in the wise words of a cartoon pirate, a person only dies when they are forgotten. And that has helped me tremendously in my life. Because it's very, very true. I think a person's spirit, in whatever way you want to imagine that, lives on in the work that they did while they were alive, in the hearts of the people that cared about them, in the wisdom that they passed along. You know, a person's spirit doesn't just disappear. If you're thinking of spirit in those terms, right? And I think that if you care about somebody, the very least you could do is to keep their memory alive. Because, you know, it's the easiest thing that you could do, and it's also the best thing that you could do, because then that other person's not really gone. You know? They still live. They live in you. It's very true. And I suppose, you know, that can't only be said about good people, right? I think it can also be said about really, truly awful people. Don't forget those people either. Because if you don't want bad things to happen, if you don't want the things that they did to continue, remember that there was a person like that at one point, and there are things that we can do to make sure that doesn't happen anymore, you know? I don't think that any history should be erased. It should never be forgotten. Because here's the thing. Everything that we make, everything that we've built, every lesson that we learn was propagated. Perhaps that's not the right word to use, but it was built upon the foundation of everything that came before it. It's like layers of sediment, right? The stuff on the bottom doesn't go away. It stays there and is buried by all the stuff that comes after it, you know? The bedrock, the foundation of our planet's history is built upon, you know, layers of rock, time that has passed, physical sediment, you know. And I think that is incredibly valuable to keep in mind. The good and the bad, right? I mean, you can't just erase all the bad stuff, you know, and just be like, well, that's over. You know, no, that's not how history works, you know? Things are bound to repeat themselves if you don't take preventative measures. At least from my perspective, right? If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. You know that old cliche, but nobody seems to pay attention. Anywho, I wanna just check to see where I'm at. Okay. Have I made a lot of progress? I really, truly cannot tell. Also, you know, sorry for how heavy that got, man. Let me tell you. It was just kind of something that was on my mind. I thought it was, thought it'd be interesting to share, right? Just check something really quick. Yeah, looking good. All right. Okay, I think we've worked through our playlist, so I'm going to swap over to another one. I'll just go to my regular music list, I guess. There we go. Can you guys hear the boom booms? So, I'm trying to figure out how far back from here I want to go. I want to see how far back I can go before I cross into the next biome, which I think is right here. Yeah, so I think this is like a savanna biome. Interesting. Wow, look at this. This is incredible. I didn't even know this is back here. Wow. Well, well, well. I can just have another lovely coastal section. Hey man, that sounds good to me. Let's clear all this stuff out, huh? I think what we're gonna do actually is we're gonna start right here at the very edge, and we're just gonna chop our way through. Because now we know we're not terribly far from the coastline here, from the bay. And I'm just thinking too, like how satisfying it's going to be to, once we get more of these buildings and stuff made, float up into the sky and look at our progress, right? It's going to be very, very satisfying. I'm thinking though, you know, for the time being, probably keep the Minecraft streams at about 2-ish hours. Because I will admit, I've been sitting at my computer for most of the day, and I feel like I need to take a break. How irresponsible of me. I feel as though some of the songs on this particular playlist, because this is just my general playlist, I feel like some of the songs aren't necessarily appropriate for Minecraft streams. You know, because this is supposed to be just kind of chill, right? But some of these songs are pretty zooted, as the kids say. Yeah, I think this is a good approach to take, because then we can just clear our way back to where we've already cleared the trees, and just start from there instead of being surprised. Yeah, because I didn't know what was even back here, and then I found out that it was like this beautiful little oasis. It's perfect, right? Almost, nearly perfect. Yeah. Also, I think it's safe to say that I might have a little bit of a surprise in the next couple days. Nothing super big, but I'm excited about it. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Maybe even like the next time I stream. Who knows? I mean, I have a pretty good idea. But we shall see. I'm glad I haven't had any hiccups this stream so far. I've been... my Wi-Fi adapter has been a little touchy lately. I will not lie. And I'm glad that it's doing alright today. I really didn't want to have to buy another one last minute, you know? I really genuinely like this song a lot. That's why I used it as my intro screen, starting screen. Hopefully that movement isn't making you guys sick. If it is, I apologize. I am definitely one of those people. I really enjoy playing Minecraft on creative mode. I just like making stuff, you know? I like being able to make stuff with no pressure, no consequences, you know? And I wish that more games were like this. You know what I mean? Where there was just a separate game mode that was like, here's every resource in the game, unlocked. Go build stuff, have fun. If there was a game like Minecraft, but it was like highly or more realistic. You know, I shouldn't say highly realistic because I don't need that necessarily. But like if there was a game like Minecraft that was a little bit more realistic, I would be playing that game so much. Particularly if it had a creative mode. Because I like doing this kind of stuff, you know? You know, there's nothing nicer to just like chill and like maybe listen to like watch a stream or something. And just put on some Minecraft and just do this. Especially if you've had like a stressful day or, you know, whatever. I don't always need a goal. I don't always need an objective, a direction. I'm totally fine with meandering as long as I'm having a good time, right? And that's mostly what this little project has been. This project that I'm doing is largely just me kind of flying by the seat of my pants and hoping the outcome's good, you know? Sometimes in life, that's all you need. Just hop off the rails every once in a while and go for something, you know? Just do it because you want to. Do it because you enjoy it, you know? There doesn't always have to be a reason. There doesn't always have to be a prize, you know? Joie de vivre. The joy of living. That is very important, I think. I mean, what can I say? You know, I like the way the French do things. I like that mentality. Okay, let's stay focused here. I think I'm gonna clear out all the trees on this side of the bay, and then we'll hop over to the other side and clear out those. I just want to clear all these out and then work my way back to where I just was, right? I don't know why sometimes these leaves, you know, because like what I've noticed is if you destroy the trees from the bottom up, then the leaves will just vanish, right? If the trunk is broken, if the trunk is destroyed. But sometimes that doesn't happen. I don't get it. Yeah, see, like that was perfectly fine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 second. I'm gonna turn some of these lights off. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. See what I'm saying with these big trees though? Man, they're such a pain. I didn't really realize how many of them there were until I started clearing out some of the trees, and then I noticed how many of these there were out there. I mean, it's not like they're hard to clear out. You know, sometimes when I'm playing Minecraft, I do kind of wish that I would have got into the game much earlier than I did. I didn't actually really start playing Minecraft a lot until probably like January of last year. January 24. I re-downloaded it on the Switch, and I just kind of fell in love with it. And I had played it previously on the Switch years ago when Bedrock Edition first released on the Switch. I played it back then. But I didn't really stay in it, and a part of me really wishes that I would have started playing it a lot sooner, you know. But I'm glad that I did get into it, because it's a lot of fun, you know. As I said in the previous stream, it might seem as though I'm doing nothing, but this is immensely therapeutic and satisfying for me, and I hope that you guys feel the same way. I mean, if you like watching a little PNG anime man busting blocks on Minecraft, then you're welcome. And if you are one of those people that do enjoy it, just know that it's good for both of us. I assure you. I think, though, I am going to take a teensy-weensy little break, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Alright, I'm back. Kind of thinking that I might have to get a new chair soon, because this one, my guest here is being a little noisy, and it's just not comfortable, you know. Like I can't find a good position to get comfortable in. I have a bad habit of, particularly when I sit in chairs, I like to sit on my legs, you know? And that's not good, right? I mean, now I'm just kind of leaned back, just hanging out, but man. I think that if I could stream from my bed, I would definitely do that. I mean, like, who would even know, right? Like, you guys can't see me. Well, I mean, you can. But, like, I'm in the control room, you know? Like, you guys don't know what's going on in there. Alright, let's see. Oh, we got quite a bit of work to do, but yeah, nothing we can't handle. I don't know if we'll get this whole section done with the time we have left, but we will certainly try. That is for sure. I'm excited to start building stuff, you know? Get all this terraforming and deforesting out of the way. It's all, of course, being done in the name of progress. Yeah, you know, I think once we get to the point where we're gonna start building for sure, right? I don't want to deprive you guys of that viewing experience, you know? So I probably won't do so much off-screen as I have been. Because that seems a little unfair, you know? So I suppose, if I must insist on playing Minecraft in my free time, I'll probably just start another project, and we'll just have this to ourselves, right? As a little fun thing that we do together. Hope you guys enjoy the little surprise I got cooking up. Well, I mean, I made it sound like it was just one thing, right? But it's a few things. Nothing major. Oh boy. I can't stop yawning. Man, I can't be that relaxed, right? I was, pretty certain. I have been pretty certain. But now I don't really know. Over the last few days, I definitely felt that my allergies were starting to get bad. And that might also be the case currently, because I feel like the quality of my voice is a little off today. And I'm feeling a little stuffy. I must admit. When I have allergies, man, I have like these awful sneezing fits. I'm just disgusting. So there's a chance that if that were to happen, and it will at some point in the future, I probably will not stream for a couple days. Because when my allergies are bad, I can't focus on anything. You know, it's just awful. But I am doing alright at the moment. Oh, I paused the music when I went to break and never put it back on. My bad. There we go. What am I doing? Okay, I feel like I'm getting a little turnaround here. Yeah, we're good. Surprisingly, not as many big trees in this little section. At least I haven't found any. I'm also contemplating on whether or not I want to relocate my house to a part somewhere in the city in Minecraft, or if I want to keep it where it's at. I think that if I find an ideal space that isn't already occupied, then perhaps I will relocate. Yeah, blah, blah. In IRL, not much of a city person. There are plenty of really cool cities in the world, right? Plenty that I would love to go to and love to see, but I'm just not a big city person. I think my ideal situation, right, is living like 20 minutes, 15 minutes away from a big city, but still having access to the kind of amenities that I need to survive without having to go to the city. but it's always an option, right? Because I don't know, it's just there's a lot going on, and I like my peace and quiet. And I'm sure in some cases you can find that peace and quiet in cities, right? But yeah, I don't know. I've just never really been drawn to cities. And I wouldn't even say that there's necessarily like a layer of anxiety in that, you know, equation. I think it's mostly just that simply there's just too much going on, you know? I feel like if I lived in a city, I would already be like, I would be so overstimulated, right? Like there's just people constantly doing stuff. There's always something happening. But I think that maybe that just comes from the fact that for most of my life, I've lived in pretty rural areas, right? I mean, most of my life I've lived 30 or 40 minutes away from a major city in the part of the country that I live in, you know. But I've never really been drawn to the promise of city life, right? Like, small cities are fine, you know? Where there's like 20 or 30,000 people and like there's still enough to do and enough available to you that like you're never really starved for access to certain amenities or things to go do, right? But the idea of living in a city and having to navigate that constantly, I think over time you'd probably get used to it and you'd probably get pretty good at it, right? But that's just not, it's just not my thing, man. I don't know. But I'm also not much of like a country person either, you know? I mean, I guess I am to an extent. I would say I prefer like medium-sized towns, you know, like anywhere from like 20 to 30,000 people, right? Which you could also say medium-sized town, small city, I guess. It just depends on the type of industries and accommodations that are available to you, right? But I also like the water, you know. I'd love to live in like a coastal, like a small city on the coast somewhere, you know, or where I live currently, not too far from the river. And if I were to want to go to river, I could just go to river. Easy. No problems. Right? Only like, you know, 15, 20 minutes away from where I live. But, you know, I definitely feel like there's... It's always just been something I've been drawn to, you know? And I think that's why in this Minecraft world, I decided to build a coastal village. Because I like the water, I love the ocean, you know? The ocean is a beautiful and terrifying place. I'm fascinated by it. That's why I'm a captain. Right? And even though the the vessel that I captain is technically amphibious. It can go in the sea and sky. My true home is on the water somewhere, you know? For sure. Particularly on the ocean. And I don't really know what it is that draws me to the ocean. I think it's just everything. It's all the qualities of it are fascinating. You know, marine life is so diverse and unique compared to, you know, freshwater environments, things like that. I mean, they function similarly, right? But like also incredibly different at the same time. I think that the sea has filled mankind with wonder and terror for as long as we've been around, and it inspires so much wonder and fear in people. It's hard not to be drawn into that too, you know. This is a nice little spot, huh? Yeah, I'll definitely come back and flesh this out a little bit more, for sure. I love this little, like, bay. This little bay area. It's very nice. I didn't know this was back here at all. We'll keep the palm trees. It's pretty apropos, right? Makes sense to keep those around. Yeah, I was thinking, right, like, speaking of the ocean, you know, it would be awesome to just, like, I mean, I know this is, like, incredibly unrealistic, but to just, like, be on a boat out in the ocean and just, you know, of course, best case scenario, I have all the things that I need to survive, right? And I could just go places, right? Just travel to different islands, different lands, see everything there was on my own terms, you know? And I guess on the sea's terms as well. You know, because you gotta listen to what she has to say. Otherwise, you will not survive. And there's definitely something romantic about that, for sure. Just having that freedom to explore on my own terms, right? Or the freedom to, you know, to be at the liberty to just do nothing. If I wanted to, you know? I think I'd miss the internet, though. I like having all that information and knowledge at my fingertips. Because, believe it or not, I use the internet as a resource to learn things. I use it for fun as well, but I use it as a tool to expand my knowledge of the world. I mean, like honestly, real talk, you know, I most of the time that I spend on the internet is learning stuff, you know? There's nothing wrong with doing other things, you know? You know, if you use it just solely for entertainment, that's totally fine, because I also do that. But I'm very grateful, and I feel very fortunate to be able to, you know, anytime I have a question about something, I can just... I have the freedom, I have the access to I have access to, you know, legitimate research and information, you know. Of course you have to check your sources and make sure that you're getting the right information. But I really do like that I have the ability to do that. Anytime I have a question about anything, anytime I want to learn something about something I'm particularly curious about, learn more about something I'm curious about, you know, I think I would miss that, for sure. Okay. We're getting close. Wow, we made a lot of progress. Dang. I'm like legit surprised we chopped through this so quickly. But yeah, not sure if I'll stream tomorrow. I got some stuff going on during the day, most of the day. But if I do not stream tomorrow, I will most certainly be back on Monday, and I will most certainly come with a surprise in hand. I shouldn't say most certainly, most likely. We'll keep it at that. But I think probably go for another 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll call it. I feel like we made some pretty decent progress with clearing out trees today. Honestly, we've probably done a lot more than what I remember, you know. And next time on Monday, if I don't stream tomorrow, I'm not really sure what we'll do. Should we play more Pokemon? Should we continue with Minecraft? Perhaps we will try something completely different. I'd really like to figure out how to get my Cintiq all set up with my stream. And then we could do some drawing streams. I think that would be super fun. Not sure what I would draw. Still kind of thinking about that. But yeah, I think that would be very fun. That was something that I've had in mind since the very beginning, since before I even actually started streaming, was doing drawing streams. Because I like to draw. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. I'd also love to do, like, painting streams as well. Like IRL painting streams, maybe. Thought about the idea of, in terms of doing drawing streams, is designing thumbnails, you know? I think that would be a lot of fun, like designing thumbnails live, so you guys can get like a little sneak peek. I would really enjoy doing something like that for sure. That would be a blast, and you know, that would give me something to do on stream for like 6 hours, right? I mean, I could easily sit on stream for 6 hours and work on a drawing and chat with you guys, like, no problem. That would be great. I would probably have to take several breaks because, you know, you can get easily fatigued doing art for that long. But I would have no problem actually doing it, you know. Definitely not. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, you know, I think we can probably finish this little section and then call it. I think that sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely need to take a break from computer stuff because I've been sitting at the computer for like close to 6 hours. I need to take it easy for a while. Making some good progress on my 2D model stuff. You know, isn't that just how it always is though? Like, you wake up and you're like, I want to do this today, I want to get all this stuff done. And then, you just don't. You know? I mean, the last 2 days, I wanted to just buckle in and work on art stuff for like, probably a total of like 16 hours, right? But it just doesn't happen that way. Stuff gets in the way sometimes. And as nice as it would be to really, really zero in and focus on that kind of stuff, like, as much as you can. I mean, that's the trick, right? Is just doing it as much as you can. I mean, you're never gonna have the time to do all the stuff you want to do. So just do the stuff that you want to do as often as you can when you have the time to do it. And, you know, don't rush it. Learn to appreciate the process. You know, you work for the progress, but you do it for the process. I came up with that just now. Not my finest work. But I think there's a little bit of truth to that, right? Okay, let's see. Almost there. Man, we really ate through some of those trees, huh? Okay. Yeah, so I want to take a look at something really fast. Just kind of want to see. I gotta clear those out. Just want to see what I'm working with here. This is a nice. This is a nice circular little area, right? I wish it would stop raining so I could see how connected it is to. So this is. That's the mouth of the river, is right here. Okay. Yeah, this is a nice circular little, you know, little peninsula. Yeah, you could easily put. You could easily make this like an important central location for sure, if you flatten some of these hills. I think that's what I might do. You know? Oh no. And just at the nick of time. Yeah, we're not gonna. I'm just gonna do that. There we go. Nothing to see here. Okay, back to the trees. Well, you know what? I think this is a good place to, you know, I'll clear these three out. Cuz I'm going to consider this next little bit like its own separate section, right? Man, this chair. I might have to do something about this chair. Yeah. Yep. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let me just get rid of these guys too. Yeah, there we go. Oh boy. Alright. Looking pretty good. Looking solid. And next time, we will continue to clear all these out up until this little mountain here. And I think, for the time being, we'll probably be good to start, like, plotting out some roads. Right? I think so. I don't really know how much I want to, like, overhaul the landscape, right? I think I can work with this. It's a little cavey, you know, there's lots of, like, this stuff going on, like, what is this even? I think it would be cool, though, to like, turn this into like a tunnel, right? Like a little alleyway, and then you walk back into this part of town, and there's like houses down here. That would be really neat. I might consider doing something like that. That would be kind of cool. To have like houses built up here, and then there's like another sector of town that's partially underground. That would be really cool. But that's a question for another day. But I feel pretty good about where this is going, you know? I like that we discovered that little area back here. That's very nice. I didn't even know that was back there, so pleasant surprise. But with that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying Minecraft, because I certainly am. And next time we will continue clearing and plotting, and maybe we'll start building very soon. Again, not sure if we'll be playing Minecraft next time I stream. I have no idea. But until we do play Minecraft again, Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And Minecraft or not, bon voyage. Till next time. I've been your captain. Thanks for hanging. Have a good one. Be decent. Have fun. Be good to yourself. Be decent to yourself and to other people. You know? Stay cool. And I'll catch you next time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.